捕まえていい気持ちゲッチュゲッチュサルゲッチュ2プレイステーション。
Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game Esoterica, a continuing series, the PlayStation 2 Palace, where I take some of my favorite PlayStation 2 games of all time, and games that normally don't show up on the top 10 list you read on the internet. And we are playing God Hand today, developed by Shinji Mekami and the team that was behind Resident Evil 4. And this game definitely has a vibe, if you can't tell already, and I'll go into more of that later. But this game is absurd, it's weird, it's out there, and has some of the best 3D beat-em-up mechanics I've ever seen in a video game. Before we get too far involved though, do me a huge favor, go down below, hit like and subscribe, and that notification bell definitely helps us out. And if you feel so inclined to want to support the channel, I got a Patreon link down below as well. But if you don't hit like, I will chop your arm off, just like you saw in the intro there. But what is God Hand? At the base value, it is just a 3D beat 'em up, but it is so wild and so intense. It definitely has some sort of Spikeout vibes from Sega on the Model 3, except made by Capcom. And interestingly, when this game came out, it was not reviewed very well, which doesn't make any sense to me. Maybe the 3D beat-em-up genre was a little bit crowded or people were tired of it, but as intervening years have gone on, this game has just gotten more and more accolades. If you like beat-em-up games, if you like competent 3D beat-em-up games, and especially if you like weird games, you're going to 100% love what God Hand has to offer. It is just absurd. The main hook of the game is you have the God Hand, and when you charge it up, you can unleash it and beat the ever-loving hell out of your opponents like they owe you a lot of money. But there's so many different special moves you can collect throughout the game and power up. It is just so diverse. There's a way for everyone to play this game. You can just come in and absolutely try to stomp the ever-loving hell out of somebody, or you can really kind of parry, jump around, backflip, and stay out of the way. You will see that there are 5 charged meteors at the bottom of the screen there. I have 2 right now, and those are going to allow you to select different special moves, and utilizing those in the right spots is going to be super important. Something like Shockwave here is going to do damage to at least one enemy and knock the other ones back. Managing those power-ups, understanding which one works best at a given moment in time, and utilizing them to your advantage is going to be the difference between winning or losing at God Hand. But I love this intro level in this western town. Kind of feels like playing an old western game movie with some Japanese influences mixed in. And you will see every once in a while you are going to be able to get some weapons. This dude here kind of looks like Dennis Rodman swinging this wooden beam around. We can knock it out of his hand with a special and use it against him. And one other special move is just going to throw your opponent into the air, cause fireworks to go off, and he's going to spin around like crazy. This game is just wacky, there's no other way to put it, but it's that tone and personality that really make the game shine. Like right now we have a purple poison chihuahua, and he is going to bite an innocent townsfolk person on the arm, and that is going to cause him to be poisoned. I can't make this stuff up, it's what happens in God Hand. And that is why I love the game so much, because I love 2D beat-em-ups, I love 3D beat-em-ups, they are all fun in my eyes, but when you combine a beat-em-up with a wacky premise, it becomes that much better to me. But mechanically, all of the moves are so responsive, and that's what I love. All of the specials are great. When you get somebody on the ground, you can just stomp their face into the dirt until you beat them, and the more enemies you beat, the more are going to appear. Screen space management, going around, backflipping is going to be super important in this game because you're constantly going to be fighting at least more than one opponent at a time. And you'll see there I made a mistake and didn't back up at the right moment in time. When I did go down a power level, you'll see there in the bottom left hand corner. You get rewarded for good performance and good fighting in this game, and you get punished when you make mistakes. The risk versus reward factor is huge, and the higher up you get that level, the better off you're going to be. And when I say the story is absurd, I absolutely mean it. Most of this game makes no sense whatsoever, but that's why it is so much fun. And it's definitely got some Cho Iniki vibes in places as well, and that's just kind of how God Hand works. It doesn't make any sense, but you'll love it the entire time you play it. And I will say it's got an absolutely spectacular soundtrack. Maybe the sound effects are slightly too loud, but it really does sell the impact of all of your kicks and punches. So go ahead and listen for 45 seconds. I'll come back and show you way more about this super weird game. But enjoy.
Woo! Ha, ha! Wow!
I just love how impactful the strikes are. This game wants to sell the fact that you're beating the ever-living hell out of people, and it does that successfully. And a little known fact, it's also based on Donkey Kong 64. All banana jokes aside, the director of this game stated that he thought of making a 3D beat 'em up after he played Final Fight Revenge in arcades, and he thought it was bad. Here's the thing, that game is terrible. It is fun for what it is, but it's not a good game, and the goal was to make a better game than Final Fight Revenge. Honestly, that's a really low bar to jump over. The bar is on the ground, you just need to step over. But Shinji Mekami and the entire Resident Evil 4 team did an outstanding job with this game. And the weirdness makes sense because Resident Evil 4 is in and of itself a weird game. Some of the antagonists in that, their voice lines, how they act, it is just weird. And this game just kind of carries that forward. Of course, it's not a beat 'em up with a dominatrix trying to kick you in leather, and God Hand has it here. I do wish you got more weapons more often though. Using the sledgehammer and just caving in skulls is an absolute blast, but those weapons are going to break pretty quickly and you're going to go right back to using those beat 'em up skills. And if you don't use the skills correctly, you're going to get completely body slammed into the ground, and you get great sound effects when those bones break. But again, managing those specials is really going to matter. You can burn a special op to charge your God Hand more, and when that happens, you just hammer on that button, you mash it, and those enemies are just going to take an absolute beating, and you're going to get a prompt just to suplex a dude into the stairs, breaking his neck. But in this level at least, demons sometimes do inhabit different playable characters, and you're going to have to beat them as well. And when that happens, trust me, it's going to take a lot of energy, a lot of time, a lot of skill, and a lot of practice to be able to beat them, because they're just going to teleport in and out of the screen and absolutely wreck you if you were not paying attention, like right there. But you got to beat the demons to get the keys to unlock the boss door. And one of the main reasons God Hand is so well known, and I love it so much, is the cutscenes and voice acting are hilarious and amazing in equal measure. So go ahead and listen for like 35 seconds this time, and I'll come back and show you way more God Hand. But enjoy again.
Finally, a boss fight.
This little huevon is the God Hand. Oh, that's rich. A la mierda.
What's the matter? You on a tight budget, big guy?
You know what? I'm getting a bit hungry, and a little huevon sounds like it would hit the spot.
You need to feed your brain, not your ass.
I mean, that's just classic bad dialogue with good voice acting, and in this generation, most of the writing was not very good, and God Hand is no different, but I crave that janky voice acting, and God Hand gives it to me in spades. The other thing it's going to give you, though, is amazing combat. It's fast, it's fluid, it's responsive, and it feels incredible in 3D. Because don't forget, a 3D beat 'em up was not as easy as a 2D beat 'em up. They hadn't been around for that long when God Hand came out, and on the PlayStation 1 they were definitely hit or miss. But when you take that God Hand out and you get the prompt to pummel and you just knock that boss halfway across the arena, nothing feels better on the PlayStation 2 in my opinion as far as beat 'em ups are concerned in the 3D space. I just love it. It's weird, it's strange. You'll see there that throne just burst open and I got some cherries to increase my health. He puffs out some cigar smoke, but I'm able to beat him through it. And then he powers up for a second stage. It's not a boss fight without a second phase going on. But God Hand loves to play with your expectations and the genre's expectations, because the minute the boss Elvis here powers up for the second phase, he gets too powerful and he falls directly through the floor, actually ending the fight. And I love that about God Hand. It's always playing around with your expectations. It's always doing the exact opposite of what you would expect, because Elvis gets turned into a statue and he walks away to fight another day, and it is hilarious. Now I will say though, God Hand definitely has a vibe, and it's a very similar vibe to Ashley in Resident Evil 4, because your companion in this game is constantly antagonizing you, constantly giving you hell, and they're constantly using camera angles that basically, I don't even need to say it, you get what I'm trying to say here. That's part and parcel of God Hand too. If you're into it, great. If you're not, just skip the cutscenes. But it is a thing, and it kind of adds to the overall goofy nature and presentation style to God Hand. But that's why I love it so much. It knows what it wants to do, and it runs with it. And honestly, it really does run with it, pun very much intended, because there are Chihuahua races in the game as well. You can pick your preferred Chihuahua, Burrito Libre here in my instance. You can bet on him, and then you can go and race Chihuahuas. It is not a joke, it's in the game. It is a mechanic where you can win or lose money, and it is hilarious to watch these colorful green spotted Chihuahuas run down a racetrack to see who wins. Does it add anything to the game? Absolutely not. Do I love that it's there? Absolutely, and unfortunately our Chihuahua lost the race. But that's what's so much fun about God Hand. It just goes for the brass ring of fun and weird in equal measure, and it 100% succeeds in what it is trying to do. It is a game of its time and place, but the fighting game mechanics are just so good in this. All of the kicks, all of the punches, all of the ability for your character to move around in real time, to backflip, and to dive out of the way. When you're playing this game really well, it feels like you were invincible, and when you make a mistake, you 100% get punished for that mistake. And that's what I love about a game like this. You live or die, pun very much intended, onto how good you're playing. That backflip right there kept me out of trouble, but then I'm going to get immediately back into trouble by not paying attention to the opponent next to me. It is risk versus reward, and when you're playing it well, nothing feels better. But I am curious how many people have played God Hand that are watching this video, how many people have heard about it, and who's going to play it after the video, because if you've never checked it out before, and you even remotely like 3D beat-em-ups, you could do a lot worse than God Hand. Short of that, I will have a video next week on PlayStation 2, and I'll have the rest of the week as well. But God Hand is basically Resident Evil 2, the beat 'em up. Bye bye.